Hey, you know you guys are live on the air doing that. You sure are.
Just doing a little light filing.
Just do it. You know, hey, everybody. We're laid back here at Jubilee Circle. Bob. Hey, there's some words you can read here in a few minutes. You want to read over those. All right. We're giving you guys a little behind the scenes of how it all works. It's been this way all morning at Jubilee Circle. So. Yeah, speed reading. Oh, okay. He's gonna study that. Hey, y'all. Hope you enjoyed a little black water there. That was a little slow jam from the from the Jubilee band here, from CC and the Recalcitrants. So welcome everybody here to Jubilee Circle this morning. We are the epitome of disorganized religion. So there you go.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here, because we can't stand organized religion, so we just scatter ourselves all over the place. Hey, what do you say we get started this morning?
All right. Yeah.
Got a few folks in the building, and Julie. Oh, because I forgot Julie's name last week. Yeah, so I need name tags. That's Bob. We know Bob. No one ever forgets Bob. So. All right, so today we are continuing our Via Creativa theme of The Truth is in Here. We're learning how to go inside to find the truth of our divine self and how doing so can help us live more creatively out here in the world. You know, according to some historians, there are many African American spirituals from the early 19th century that were actually songs about the Underground Railroad, and they were part of that whole system of the Underground Railroad. It was a loosely connected group of abolitionists who enabled escaped slaves to go north to freedom. So the song Follow the Drinking Gourd, for example, it's clear instruction to follow the Big Dipper constellation because of its proximity to the North Star. Swing Low, Sweet Chariot is said to refer to the Union Army that was coming for to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? A band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. Wade in the water may well have been a code for traveling in the rivers so you wouldn't leave scents for your footprints to be traced. Likewise, with down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way. Steal away to Jesus. That might well have been an admonition to slip away and escape. Steal away home. I ain't got long to stay here. Whether or not these parallels are actually historically accurate, one thing is true. The human spirit has always longed to be free, and spirituality has consistently offered that kind of freedom. It might well be that the spirit of freedom is the heart of spirituality, and that heart of freedom, that spiritual heart of freedom, will always make you say, oh yeah. Please rise as you're able. Do it out there too. Get into practice now. We've got vaccinations coming. Start practicing. We're coming back to Jubilee, so stand up where you are. And as we do with every time we start one of these Jubilee things, you know, as disorganized as we are, we remember. We try to remember some things. The four elements, the fire and the earth and the water and the air. And we burn sage as a reminder that this is a sacred time and a sacred place, and we call the four directions to orient ourselves in that sacred time and place.
Let us turn and face the east. Holy One, we give you thanks for the beautiful dance of freedom that the sun does for us every morning as it rises in its holy rhythm to make its daily dance across the sky. Remind us, Holy One, that our own lives are a holy dance. Help us to break free of anything that holds us back from our dance of freedom this day and every day. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the south. Holy One, we thank you for the sweaty dance of freedom from the south. We thank you for the warm breezes that grant freedom to the plants and vegetables that can only grow during the summer. We give thanks for fur that flies as our animals shed their winter coats and welcome the warmth. Help us to shed our own heavy coats of worry and despair and enjoy this summer dance of freedom. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the west. Holy One, as the stars begin their dazzling, twinkling dance in the night sky, remind us of our place in this universe. On this speck, in this molecule of a universe in the vastness of space, remind us that those problems that plague us every day have no power over us. Instead, remind us that no problem, no worry is so big that we cannot be free from it, and remind us to dance even when we feel like crying. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the north. Holy One, we give thanks for the chilly winds that dance through the barren trees during winter. Winter may seem to be a season of despair and frozenness, but remind us, Holy One, that without winter, those seeds of spring cannot bloom. Remind us, Holy One, that we have seeds of love planted within us all that wait to come to fruition in the world. Give us the patience we need to grow where we are planted. Turn back toward the center. Jubilants, we are all in need of some serious freedom. We are all enslaved to one thing or another, to our emotions, to our lack of emotions, to our jobs, to our lack of jobs, to our beliefs that we are not good enough, or that we are too good. In this moment and in this place, I invite you to do the dance of freedom, to release yourself from all fear and doubt and experience the delight of this existence that makes us all say,
Oh yeah! All right. Remain standing and we'll sing a little opening song for you here. A little Jason Mraz this morning. And if you want to follow along, there is a bulletin available online at jubileecircle.com. You're welcome to use any device, except for Bob. He doesn't use those devices. But we'll have to print you a bulletin, Bob. I'm sorry. For our challenge, our device challenged. For our Luddites in the room. This is a little Jason Mraz song, but at jubileecircle.com you can download a PDF of the bulletin. Follow along with your lyrics and readings. All right, here we go. Except for Bob. He's just going to have to hang out there. All right. All right, good. All right, Bob's going to pretend he knows this song. It's
okay,
a
so
big Jason Mraz song, yeah. Here you go. Oh, yeah, here we go. Then we've got some. Yeah, all right. Now Bob has lyrics. He's still going to pretend he knows this song. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. I picture something that's beautiful. It's full of life and it's so blue. I see a sunset on the beach, yeah. It makes me feel calm, and when I'm calm, I feel good. And when I feel good, I sing. And the joy it brings makes me feel good. And when I feel good, I sing. And the joy it brings. I see the birds fly across the sky. Everyone's heart flies to get there. Their food is frying and people smiling. Like there is no other way to feel good. When I feel good, I sing. And the joy it brings makes me feel good. When I feel good, I sing. And the joy it brings. Come on along, I know you really want to feel our song. We got some light to bring. We've got some joy in this thing. Come on along, I know you really want to feel our song. We got some light to bring. We got some joy in this thing.
a song, we got some light to bring. We've got some joy in this thing. Come on along, I know you really want to feel our song. We've got some light to bring. We've got some joy in this thing.
Can you feel, can you feel, can you feel the joy that it brings? If you can feel the joy, then you should let yourself sing. Hey, hey, I love to share my things, 'cause it brings me freedom.
Freedom! Whoa! Whoa!
Well, it's all for you, all for you,
All for you, all for you.
freedom.
Freedom! Whoa! Whoa!
Got to get you some of that, got to get you some of that, got to get you some of that freedom. Oh, yeah. All right. You may be seated.
Background dancers just now, just so you know.
Oh, y'all. All right, y'all. I got my pips back there. Welcome again to Jubilee Circle, and welcome to folks masked up and distanced in the building, and you're welcome to come and do that too. We are an inclusive, progressive interfaith community here in Columbia, South Carolina, and we teach the timeless common wisdom of love and unity that is found in mainstream religions within metaphysical philosophies, mysticism, and the teachings of inspired secular and religious leaders throughout the ages. We do seek to create a space for everyone to transform spiritually, to find life's deeper meaning, to love wastefully, to engage in the world peacefully, and to do justice, all in an effort to discover how we can live from day to day into our true divine self. And we also recognize that we are all God's good creation. We are all formed in love and in joy, and we often forget this, however. We humans, we're a forgetful lot. So we believe instead that we see this world of separation. We see you over here and me over here and that guy over there. And we think that this world of paradox is the real world where we're supposed to be. And we see others in this dualistic way as beautiful or ugly, good or bad, generous or stingy, loving and recalcitrant, right. But let us, jubilants, remember our true function here, and that is to continually return to the home that we have never truly left while we embody and become an open channel for the love that created all of us. Oh, yeah. All right, so coming up, just a few announcements. Coming up next Sunday, we will continue our Via Creativa theme of The Truth is in Here. We're going to use a song from the Grateful Dead. It's one you know. It's one we play a lot, Ripple. So we're going to, if you just want to listen to that and get familiar, and we're going to learn how to use the tools of compassion and insight to be effective spiritual workers in the world, how we cultivate that inside first so we can become those workers in the world. And of course, yeah, the building is open again. We do have some Jubilee face masks that you are welcome to get while you're here. Our little, oh yeah, face masks so you can show the world. And we do have a Zoom talkback coming up after the celebration around the noon hour. A link to that is at our website and at our Facebook page. So we invite you to join us on Zoom for a little bit of fellowship, a little face-to-face, a little chance to connect and see one another. And I sent out an email this week on something called the All Y'all Challenge. We stole this from our mothership up in Asheville. They sent out an email, and I liked it, so I stole it from them. It's called the All Y'all Challenge, and it is a challenge for all of you out there who do watch, and especially those of you who watch regularly, to invite others to join you in this endeavor on a Sunday morning. So in the email, there was a little sample email that you could send out to all of your friends and family and all of your enemies and strangers. Spam everybody and just tell them to watch Jubilee Circle here on YouTube or the Facebook channel every Sunday morning, and just get a taste of what's here and what we do. And when the building reopens in the next few months, we can all come and do that. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. And what was it, Keith? Did you remind me this morning that 1 year ago today, he says, is when the lockdown began here, especially in South Carolina. And Janice remembered that March last year was the last open mic we had, and so it was in the weeks after that open mic on the first Friday. I think we only got like 2 March celebrations in before we were all online and had a bumpy ride getting ourselves online, but we did it, and here we are, still online. Doggone it. So please invite other people to watch this, invite other people to experience this, and hopefully, if they're local folks, they can come into this space when all of this is finally over. All right, Bob, you ready to make your debut again? All right.
Come over here.
Come over here. Hear these wise and holy words from this tall and wise holy man.
I don't know if I can live up to all that.
Well, the tall part you got.
Okay. Hey, they couldn't coach that, could they?
No.
All right, well, bear with me. Well, I guess I'm going to have to lean down.
Yeah, lean down. There
Okay.
you go.
From the Christian scriptures, 1 Corinthians 13, 1 through 8a, if I speak in the tongues of mortals and of angels, but do not have love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give away all my possessions, and if I hand over my body so that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Excuse me. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. Excuse me again. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. From the Jesus story, Luke 4:22 through 30, all spoke well of him and were amazed at the gracious words that came from his mouth. They said, "Is not this Joseph's son?" He said to them, "Doubtless you will quote me this proverb, 'Doctor, cure yourself,' and you will say, excuse me, 'Do you hear also in your hometown the things that we have heard you did at Capernaum?' And he said, 'Truly, I tell you, no prophet is accepted in the prophet's hometown. But the truth is, there were many widows in Israel.'"
Widows.
I'm sorry?
Widows.
Oh, okay.
They're a little different from windows.
Yeah, that's true. There were many widows in Israel in the time of Elijah. There were windows, too.
Yeah, I'm sure there were.
And when the heaven was shut up for 3 years and 6 months, and there was a severe famine all over the land. Yet Elijah was sent to none of them except to a widow at Zarephath in Sidon. There were also many lepers in Israel in the time of the prophet Elijah, and none of them was cleansed except Naaman the Syrian. When they heard this, all in the synagogue were filled with rage. They got up, drove him out of the town, and led him to the brow of a hill on which their own town was built, so they might hurl him off the cliff. But he passed through the midst of them and went on his way. From A Course in Miracles, chapter 23. Where is Gina, by the way?
I don't know. Gina, we miss you.
What cause have you for anger in the world that merely waits your blessing to be free? This world awaits the freedom you will give when you have recognized that you are free. But you will not forgive the world until you have forgiven him who gave your will to you. Okay. For its own, your will, the world is given freedom, nor can you be free apart from him whose holy will you share. God turns to you to ask the world to be saved, for by your own salvation is it healed, and no one walks upon the earth but must depend on your decision that he learn death has no power over him, because he shares your freedom as he shares your will. It is your will to heal him, and because you have decided with him, he is healed. And now is God forgiven, for you chose to look upon your brother as a friend.
These are
Amen.
wise and holy words. All creation is holy word. All creation speaks volumes of the holy. Hallelujah. Let's stand and sing. 2, 3, 4. Winter is the oldest season, but quietly beneath the snow, seeds are stretching out and reaching, faithful as the morning glow. Carry nothing but what you must. Lean in toward the light. Let it go, shake off the dust. Lean in toward the light. Today is now, tomorrow beckons. Lean in toward the light. Keep practicing resurrection. Lean in toward the light. Shadows of this world will see. There's no hope, why try anyway? But every kindness, large or slight, shifts the balance toward the light. The prayer I pray at eventide, lean in toward the light. All left undone, be put aside. The light and forgiveness is hard to find. Lean in toward the light. Help me at least to be kind. Lean in toward the light. 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 Lean in toward. Seated out there too. Don't want to neglect you all out there in the universe, out there hanging out in the universe. Our song this morning, it comes from the Atlanta-based duo called the Indigo Girls. This song is called Free in You, and it comes from their 2004 release called All That We Let In. All right. Mm-hmm. Bob keeps requesting Chicken Man. That's never happening. There are songs that you love, and then there are songs where you go, oh my God. I love you, Amy Ray. What were they thinking? I love you, Amy Ray, but no Chicken Man. Buy his art, though. He's fabulous. The Chicken Man here, he's fabulous. He is. I love his stuff. How are you? Ernest Lee. That's right. Emmett. I had Emmett in my head for some reason, but yeah, Ernest Lee. We have some Ernest Lee at our house. So. All right, we ready? A hard knock, the cold clock ticking off my time. Long look, no luck, couldn't seem to find or unwind into peace of mind. Though I was trying, a quick glance, a big chance, my heart beat like a drum. I saw you, and I know chances just don't come again, not like this. First alive, and then the kiss, and I'm free in you. I got no worries on my mind. about 11 years or so ago, I was the associate pastor at Garden of Grace, which is the UCC in town, and we broke ground for the building that now stands and houses them off of Atlas Road. It was a really festive occasion. We were standing out in the woods with shovels and big dreams for what was to come for that little community at that time. Our big day was also attended by a couple of protesters. They brought signs and bullhorns and proceeded to loudly proclaim that our church would be home to such human derelicts as faggots and dykes and other filthy sinners who were only worthy of God's wrath. Well, we called the police, and shockingly, they never showed up. So we continued with our ceremony as best we could amid the racket. Afterward, we all made our way back to our cars. We were parked along the road there at Atlas Road, and our tormentors were still there, still spewing their verbal vomit. One member had enough of it. She turned around and she started to argue with them, and so we just sort of hustled her off to her car. Let's not poke the bear. So we kind of formed a cordon around them, me and the other pastor, and kind of got everybody to their cars, and he got in his car, and I was headed back to mine, and I turned around and I realized between me and vehicular safety were these two guys. I had to walk by them to get to my car. One of them was this older, bedraggled sort of fellow, and the other was kind of blew me away. He was this young guy. He must have been in his 20s. And if he hadn't been carrying a God hates fags sign, I would have mistaken him for some crunchy granola new age type of dude with long hair and Birkenstocks. That's what he looked like. Never judge a book by its cover, right? Now, back in this time, I was a little more formal. I wore a collar, which made shirt choosing real easy in the mornings. Just which color today? That's about it. Now it's a whole process. Anyway. So I wore this collar, so these protesters knew I was one of the pastors of this abhorrent and recalcitrant church. So I assessed the situation. I got to get to my car, right? So I thought, well, kindness is a strategy. So I strolled past the men, and I smiled, and I said, God bless you. Well, you thought I would have poured hot water on them or said something bad about their mamas, because they screeched. They started shouting at me. And the older one yelled, "You're a false prophet, ma'am. You're leading people straight to hell." And now I'm sure the other guy said something too, but I was so taken with what the older man had said to me, I didn't even hear him. Only in the South, my friends, will you encounter such polite hatred. Where else can you be called a false prophet and ma'am in the same sentence? Come on. So I just shook my head. I continued to my car and didn't say anything else to them. But it was in this moment that I think I got it, just a little bit, as how Jesus might have felt as he walked through that hostile hometown crowd who believed that he too was a false prophet, sir, bringing a strange message back to his hometown. But I think what set the crowd off, I know what set these guys off, but I think what set the crowd off against Jesus, it was kind of similar to what set off these protesters. They really just couldn't fathom how the holy often uses those that we don't like, those that we say we hate, to bring blessings into the world. Which, this is what Jesus preached about. It's what he's preaching about in this passage. Throughout the Gospels, Jesus is telling his hometown crowd stories from their own tradition where God favored the hated outsiders over the chosen people of Israel. In this passage, he's reminding them, the prophet Elijah, he was sent to feed a widow, or maybe a window, we don't know. The widow through the window, maybe that was it. But he was sent to feed this widow in the hated city of Sidon, where those in Israel, while those in Israel are out there starving, so Elijah is sent to their enemies, to feed their enemies. And also about that time that Elisha, that other prophet, he chose to heal a despised Syrian of leprosy instead of the many Hebrews that were out there similarly affected. Jesus was telling his hometown buds what A Course in Miracles would teach centuries later. All the children of God are special, and none of the children of God are special. We're all one. But to drive that point home, sometimes God uses those we hate to reveal the true nature of freedom in this world. It angered Jesus' homies to think some filthy Syrian might be blessed ahead of them. It still angers many today who say they follow Jesus to see that happen to Syrians. Some things never change, right? It angered those protesters to think that God might actually use a lesbian pastor to bring the good news of God's love and grace into this world. But you know what? It's how God works. God's always using the things that we say we hate, blessing them and prospering them, to show us that nobody's free until we all are. God is always showing us that the true enemy is not any person that appears before us. Instead, it is the collective powers and the principalities that we collectively have created in this world through our fearful egos. That's what we struggle against, not each other. The hometown that Jesus goes back to, metaphysically speaking, it isn't really a literal physical hometown. Instead, his hometown, all of our hometowns, it's our ego. And we can't handle the truth that we are all equal in the eyes of the holy, that the only way to truly be free is in through one another. Breathe deeply. Lost time, self-pride are my big mistakes. A clear voice, bad choice, sounding like an A in my day. Not too bad, but too real to go away. And I'm free in you. I got no worries on my mind. I know what to do. That's to treat you right and love you kind. Thank you ever on my mind. Love is just like breathing when it's true. And I'm free in you. That word freedom, it's a lot like the word love. We use it so much that we really don't even understand what it means anymore. That word freedom, it's getting tossed around a lot these days about what impinges on my freedom. But you know, when I was a kid, freedom, what that meant to me was the ability to do whatever I wanted to do, whether it was to stay up late, ditch church, cuss without getting my mouth washed out with soap, or drink some beer. Yeah. I didn't realize as a kid that freedom comes with other things, like jobs and mortgage payments, wearing a mask in public. That's freedom. There's the rub, you know. Any true form of freedom, it comes with responsibilities, not just for ourselves, but for others. Church Father Augustine, he captured this idea in one short sentence all those centuries ago. He said, "Love God and do as you please." Now, everybody hears the last part really well. Do as you please. We all get excited. Woo! But we miss the first part. Love God. Love God and do as you please. Now, that changes the equation on freedom, because if I love God, my idea of what will please me will also change. I mean, look at it this way. If the sentence were, love Beth and do as you please, then what pleases me most, what pleases me most is usually what's going to please her too, right? I hope I'm doing this right. I mean, you know, I am free. I have the freedom. I have the freedom to go out and see other women if I choose. It's clear that I'll be doing it with half of my stuff.
Wow, that much.
Or maybe a third of my stuff. Maybe none of my stuff. But if I love Beth first, I I don't even think about other women. I really don't. If I love first, not just because I like my stuff, you know. Jubilants, if we get the first part right, if we get the love God part right, then we realize we're already free. We're already free to rise above the pettiness and the greed and the fear of the ego. We are free to rise above the hatred and division that our corporate and individual egos have spawned in this earthly plane. We are free to rise above the fear, the anxiety, and the worry that our ego insists we must constantly be feeling. We are free to be enraptured in love. But we are not free to do it alone. Freedom is not independent of others. It depends on others. This world, A Course in Miracles says, awaits the freedom you will give when you have recognized that you are free. This world awaits the freedom you will give when you have recognized that you are free. In chapter 22 of the Course, it asks, do you want freedom of the body or of the mind? Because you cannot have both. Oh, but the ego thinks you can. The ego thinks you can have it all. And it assures you that you will be free when you have that next great job or that next great relationship or the next great car or house or whatever your ego desires in this world. The ego's belief may be that the one who dies with the most toys wins, but our higher divine self knows that freedom is never found in anything out here. It is never found in things. It is never found in wealth or in power. Freedom, jubilance, is only found in relationships. In a relationship with God, in a relationship with yourself and with others. And we have a choice. That's the good news. We have all of this choice, all of this freedom to choose. We can either be in our ego, we can be in this bodily world of grasping for things outside of ourselves that we think is going to make us free, and it just binds us further, or we can get in our right mind. We can love God. We can be in that Christ consciousness where this rapture of freedom, not just for ourselves, but for the entire world, is already there for the taking. True freedom is found in being faithful to love and knowing that we can only do God's will in this world when we act from that place of love, from that place that is without fear. Attacking, hating, complaining, posting on Facebook, wishing the world would another way without actually doing anything to change it. All of these things, they're based in fear. These are not the actions of divinely free people. Truly free people will always seek the loving way to respond, even when no love is returned, even when hatred or malice or ridicule and, yeah, even injury or death is all you get back for all that love you have put out in the world. Nobody said, nobody promised us that it was going to be easy in this bodily form, jubilance. But for our minds, for our spirits, freedom is easy because we understand it can only be found when we love God first. Because what we want to do after we love God first is love the world. And that is a true love that is just like breathing. Breathe deeply. And I'm free in you. I got no worries on my mind. I know what to do. That's to treat you right and love you kind. Thank you ever on my mind. Love is just like breathing when it's true. As I walked to my car on that tense and joyful afternoon after the groundbreaking ceremony, I can tell you, I really did feel free. Even as those hate-filled words flew at me from the protesters, I smiled. I felt light and happy, not because I had some sense of spiritual superiority, but because I knew if I could refuse to hate them, I was accepting not only God's love for me, but God's love for them as well. I knew that I could not be free unless I offered the same freedom to them, whether they would actually accept it or acknowledge it or not. That's the freedom that Jesus knew as he walked through the crowd in his hometown that day. He wasn't afraid of the angry mob. He knew in an instant they could have grabbed him, tossed him right off the cliff, but he didn't fear them. Instead, he loved them because he knew his freedom hinged on theirs. But how do we know? How do we know, Jubilants, when we get this love thing right? How do we know we're doing it right? Well, the apostle offers us some clues on how we know that we're getting it right, that we're loving God first and then doing as we please, because as we please, we'll please God. He says love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. Whew! My Facebooking just got harder right there. Not envious, boastful, or arrogant or rude. Wow, what's left to do on Facebook? Anyway. Are you really? Come on. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. This passage, it's often read at wedding ceremonies because it admonishes couples to treat one another as equals in their relationship. This is what divine, rapturous freedom looks like, the kind of love that bears and endures all things without being offended or seeking revenge for perceived wrongs. Love is always willing to see the best in anyone and everyone, even if that person is someone who hates you, even if that person is someone you hate, even if that person is yourself. Love is willing to look beyond the ego's projections, beyond its own pettiness and small-mindedness, beyond its own self-loathing, beyond its jealousies and its anxieties. Love looks so deeply at self and others that all it ever sees is the light of God that shines within each of us. That's what we are, Jubilants. We're all just God's light walking around. And when you can see it, that's when you got the love thing right. And you don't do it all the time, sure. But the more you do it, the more you remember to do it, the more you remember when that person is irritating you. But they're the light of God. They're the one child of God, and so am I. Because when we truly behold the light within ourselves and others, we can't be complacent when we see anyone in this world that is suffering. Once we truly behold the innocence of all of God's creation, then the true love within us will not rest until we are all free to live fully into that higher divine self that we all possess. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, he was a German Lutheran priest who was executed for standing up to Hitler during World War II. He reminds us, we are never truly free by ourselves. In truth, he wrote, freedom is a relationship between two persons. Being free means being free for the other, because the other has bound me to him. Only in relationship with the other am I free. Bonhoeffer knew, once you realize that we can only be free through one another, you understand that life is not a spectator sport. We have to be about our holy purpose of saving this world from the fearful collective egoic powers and systems that we have created together. The people who love, wrote Bonhoeffer, because they are freed through the truth of God, are the most revolutionary people on earth. They are the ones, he says, who upset all the values. They are the explosives in human society. Jubilants, we are the explosives in this society. That we are so full of love that we blow up the systems of hate. We blow up the systems of greed. This is the call to freedom, to be all the ones, to be the ones who upset all the values, who explode all of the fearful systems and powers that we've created collectively in this world. And we only do that when we realize God is always sending the misfits, the outcasts, the refugees, the forgotten, the marginalized, the recalcitrant. Those are the ones who are here to save the world. That's what we're here for. Those who have the seats of power, because the system's working for them. They don't want to see it changed. Those are the ones. They'll ridicule you. They'll oppose you, and maybe even arrest you or imprison you for your opposition. It happens. But if we truly understand our call to be the light in this world, to save it from the powers and principalities of the ego, then we understand, like Jesus did, like Paul did, like Bonhoeffer did, like the Course does, we are only free in and through one another when we choose to look upon everyone in this world as our holy sibling, regardless of race, nationality, gender, political persuasion, any other barrier to love that we construct in this world. Then, as the Course tells us, the world is given freedom. And sometimes, just maybe, that underlying current of divine love may slip out from an enemy who, in the middle of a hate-filled rant, calls you ma'am. Oh, yeah. And I don't know how you show such gentle disregard for the ugly in me that I see, that for so long I took so hard. But I truly believe that you see the best in me. I'm enough for your love, and that thought sets me free. I got no worries on my mind. I know what to do. That's to treat you right and love you kind. Thank you ever on my mind. Love is just like breathing when it's true. And I'm free in you. Yes, I'm free in you. Oh, yeah. All right. During this prayer time, I invite you, if you have a bowl to ring or sing, do so. Even just a little bell or something to remind you that this is a time of quiet meditation, a time of just entering into the presence of the Holy. You're not asking for anything. You're not expecting anything. You're not wanting something to work out the way you want it to. You just want to be in the presence of that love that created you, that love that seeks to flow through you, to fill you to the brim. So all you can do is spill it out onto the world and be that open channel. That's what you want to do in this moment, is just be one with what created you, because that's what you are. So take this time to remember who you truly are. 3, 4. We sing to the plants and trees, water that gives life to these. We sing love, peace, and freedom for us all. We sing to the earth and air, sun and moon and stars out there. We sing love, peace, and freedom for us all. We sing to a vision beyond race, beyond religion. We sing love, peace, and freedom for us all. We sing to every nation from the heart of all creation. Singing love, peace, and freedom for us all. We're singing for the healing, for the love that we are feeling. We sing love, peace, and freedom for us all. We're singing for the healing, for the love that we are feeling. We sing love, peace, and freedom for us all. We sing love, peace, and freedom for us all. We sing love, peace, and freedom for us all. Oh, yeah. And that's really the essence of it. We sing love, peace, and freedom for us all. First, you got to know that freedom yourself before you can offer it to others. We can only teach what we know. And if we're not having that sense of freedom within, then that's not what we're teaching. But one of the things that can help you feel more free is giving. It really is. It's generosity. And it is that law of circulation, that the more we give, the more we put out into the world that is loving and kind and generous, the more love, kindness, and generosity that it comes back to us. It's really sort of neat how it all works out. The more we put out, the better the stuff is that comes back around to us, whether that comes back around in the form of money, in the form of other resources, in the form of love and support. That is the law of circulation. If you clench part of it, it's like a hose. If you clench part of it, it can't get through, but it means that it can't get through to you either. So if you let go, when we open our hands, then we're free to receive what comes back around. And then we give and we receive, and we give and we receive, because it is all the same thing. And so we are grateful for those who understand this law of circulation and who have been generous in giving and receiving what we do here on Sunday mornings, and what we're going to try to get back to when we can all get back together again. So thank you so much for those who have given, and thank you for those who are considering right now and going to jubileecircle.com and clicking on the donate button and going ahead and giving, so that we may continue to hold this building, so we can have a space for all of us to come back when we all get our shots and our little nip and tucks, and we all are ready to come back. We all get our shots and we get groomed. You know, I'm signing up for mine next week. They're opening it up to 55 and plus. Janice, I'm sorry,
I
you
can't
can't.
yet. No,
yeah,
not
not
yet.
for another 10 years, I
Right,
think.
exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
she's a few months, what? Anyway,
3 months,
3 months
and 3 days or something
younger than me or
yeah.
something. Yeah. So yeah, all we 55-year-olds, we're going.
That's right.
That's right. So, thank you again for those who have given. Thank you for those who will be giving. Thank you to everyone who has stuck with us and made sure that Jubilee has survived and understands that we are all in this together. And as we adjourn to our Zoom room, I do remind you about the words we talk about, Meister Eckhart, 14th, 15th century old dude. But he has some really good advice. He said, if the only prayer you ever say your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. And so together we say,
Thank you.
and we say,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah. We all walk together, hand in hand, side by side. We all walk together with hearts and arms open wide. We make the way by walking, in love we will abide. The path is always open, no traveler is denied. So open up your heart, forget those tears you cried. We all walk together, hand in hand, side by side. We all walk together, hand in hand, side by side. Oh yeah. All right. So please join us in the Zoom room for some good conversation and able to connect and see each other face to face. If not, enjoy your week. We love you. Thank you for tuning in to Jubilee Circle. Oh yeah.